Good morning and welcome back to B for TV, your daily dose of industry information. Following on from our last episode about free trade agreements, today we're joined by Alice Almazan from the Department for Business and Trade, looking at the CPTPP agreement in more detail. So Alice, thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, I know our last episode looked at kind of the benefits of the agreement, but can you just tell us a little bit more about the implementation and what that looks like in practice?
Of course. So, as a bit of a reminder of what my colleague Olivia mentioned at the last episode, CPTPP offers many benefits for those businesses operating in the logistics sector. That goes from easier customs processes and rules of origin requirements. However, businesses won't be able to really benefit from the free trade agreement if these measures aren't implemented on the ground as they should. So that's why under CPTPP, there are a number of forums and subcommittees where different CPTPP members will get together to really review how the agreement is working in practice. And that's why it's so important to get that business feedback on the ground.
So how can our members help to support the improvements of that?
So, like I just said, feedback is essential for us. Really, as civil servants, we can only work with the feedback received from real businesses working on the ground and using those customs processes. So, essentially, what we do with that feedback is review our free trade agreement guidance, review any issues, but also any market access barriers where through those forums and committees, we can raise those with our partner countries under CPTPP.
When we're looking at the feedback in general from the industry that you've got so far, what does that look like?
Absolutely. So most of the feedback is actually really positive. Our team tend to collect case studies, and business feedback is really essential to make sure that other businesses can understand how other companies are benefiting from the free trade agreement. However, we're also really interested in hearing what might not be working that well. So anecdotally, we hear about some feedback where certifications of origin might be rejected at the border, where there might be inconsistencies in those customs processes. So any kind of feedback, whether that's good or bad, will be really well received by our teams to make sure it's working in practice.
And can you share kind of any specific examples of where someone's come to you with a problem and that you've taken that on board?
Most of that feedback is anecdotal, so I can't really go into the specifics of this today because most of the information we receive is confidential. However, we do hear of, like I said earlier, inconsistencies in kind of areas where businesses might believe that the FTA isn't being implemented as it should. So any feedback around there will be used to work with local authorities, with CPTPP member states, and again, using that to really build our evidence of how things are actually working on the ground.
And of course, you said that feedback is so crucial. So if our members are, coming across any challenges or if they just have any general feedback, how can they go about sharing that with you guys?
So our team is running a series of one-to-one sessions with businesses to hear about that feedback directly. We're running those from now until the end of November. So we're really keen to hear from as many members as possible to hear about that feedback. But also we're happy to receive any written feedback. We acknowledge that people are very busy, so might not have time to speak to us maybe for half an hour. So anything that could be shared via email would be much appreciated too. But not just that, our department has a tool called Report Market Access Barrier, where businesses can report any barriers they're experiencing, not just on CPTPP, but also globally. So our team will make sure we can collect that information received through that tool. But overall, the key message is to say that really our team can only work well around free trade agreements and delivering the best benefits to businesses with that key feedback received. So that's the key message.
That's great, Alice. Thank you so much for the update. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you with us this morning.
Thank you.
As Alice said, we are inviting members to share their feedback, so we will put the links and the contact details in the description. That's all for today's edition of B for TV, your daily dose of industry information.